And so we are now live just very quickly. This podcast is sponsored by Bix Recovery Supplement. After a long bicycle ride, that's usually not the end of my day. I'm still a husband, a dad, and I still have a lot of work to do. So recovery is super important to me. So I take Bix Recovery Supplement as part of my recovery routine. It was recommended to me by my friend Terrence Go, who is an ultra endurance trail runner. So you can order yours at instagram.com/focus recovery ph. So thank you, Bix Recovery Supplement and Focus Recovery PH for sponsoring the podcast. And again, over the years, 032 Conversations has had over 100 interviews. I've been blessed to be able to talk to so many interesting people. So you can check out the interviews in the archives at 032.com. And today we're going to have our mastermind. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves or should we just get to it? That's Kahlil and Johnn, who have both been on the podcast before. So, you know, hi guys.
Hello.
So we're gonna do the live stream mastermind. Um, yeah, I think we're still waiting for one or two people, but maybe we'll just get started, no? And
Sure.
just for the listener, this is something that we do every month. We meet every month offline mostly. Today we're just gonna do it live for your viewing, listening pleasure. And the agenda today is we're gonna do the classic one. I'm just clarifying,
Sure. I
Khalil.
mean, it's like we do the classic one. I mean, we only did the other one like once, no?
I think we're supposed to do
Yeah,
that like once a year, no?
I don't
yeah.
know.
I'm just clarifying because because of the craziness currently in my situation, I just over prepared. So usually I come in here and I don't really have that much thought of ahead, but today today is a bit different.
Yeah. Maybe
So
we could
just
explain to the viewers what agenda is, or the classic
yes,
agenda
exactly.
that we follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we start off in the beginning of every mastermind with our wins, basically things that we're proud of over the past month or things that have good things that have happened over the past month, whether it be business or personal or anything. And then our top challenges or feedback or opportunities, no? That's the second agenda. And then the third agenda is we talk about our different goals or system upgrades for the coming month or so or whatever or the next whatever timeline that we choose. And then the fourth agenda just to end it all is we talk about the cool things we've discovered or shared uh, over the month. No, so that's basically the four things we talk about. Everybody takes turns talking about it, and yeah. How long have we been doing this, Khalil?
I think the earliest one is November 2016 or
Wow.
2016. I think, yeah, that was still with
So
yeah, this, yeah,
with Ken and
was that
Robert, which we
4 years? Yeah,
we'll do
next week.
something next week with those guys.
Yeah, like a
It's
reunion. Yeah,
interesting.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't know. I found it very useful, and it's just good to talk about the things that we've been doing. And personally, I found that it's been able to kanang, not only grow my business but also grow my kanang give some personal growth along the way.
Yeah, it's also I mean, for me, like when you share your wins, you're sort of reminding yourself to be grateful,
Yeah.
because like sometimes we tend to focus on problems. So this is
True.
like forces you to actually think about your wins. Now I'm already like doing this daily thing of writing down things I'm grateful for, but at least once a month it's good to like externalize it and talk to people about the good things that happened in the past month. And then the challenges, it helped me focus as well, like just like trying to like the past few hours I was preparing, like, what do I tell these guys? And that sort of forces you to prioritize your like focus on the next month. So challenges and goals, what do you need to fix? and then how do you know whether it's fixed, or like what's your focus in the next month? And then I guess cool things. I mean, I learned so many things from cool things. Like one of the most transformational things that that I discovered in the past year was Rome, and I discovered it through this question. Like, what are the cool things you discovered? And Mo shared Rome, and like it's been quite an adventure with that world.
That's right. You found out about that here, no?
Yes, January
We have a whole
22.
podcast about
2020.
it. Oh, really?
Yeah, and obviously we have notes. That's not the nice thing as well. Like
I know.
you see the history of your business and interest and growth and all that in our notes. So
Maybe I'll share the notes of this session in the show notes of this podcast when I publish it. That might be just to give people an idea of what it looks like, but an unedited version of it, unless there's something said that needs to be deleted.
Confidential.
No, but yeah. Should we get started or
let's go.
no?
Yeah, that's
Okay, who wants to start with the first win?
Okay,
I
I'll
will
start.
start.
So, okay, go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
Kahlil will start. Kahlil
Now,
will start.
well, my main focus right now is building like a genomics business, which is like a few years from now. So the main now is preparation, like learning the science behind it and building the right network. And the main opportunity in the past few months has been like the bringing low cost genomics to help in facing the pandemic locally. So this is I talked about this in the past, Project Accessible Genomics, and it was like because of the situation, and because I happen to have an interest in this world of low cost portable genomics. I've been talking about this for the past like year or so, no?
mhm.
So it was just like so I was able to build this team of like people all over the world with scientists. So now we submitted our latest two grant applications, and in this particular grant application, one of them, so we were like zero point zero 0.05 points away from getting it the past round. So this is like 5 months in the making. That was last May. So I think we will. I'm very confident that we will get that. So it's an interesting world, like all these grants, and it's like pitching to academics or something like that with
What do you
very
mean by 0.05 points to making it?
because like in this particular grant, it's like a micro grant, and then it's like crowdsourced decision making on who the grant will be given to. So it's like I think it was like one to five, and the cutoff is 3.5 or something like that, or 3.75. So we were like 0.15 away from getting the enough points to get the grant. So and then they gave us feedback on why that was. So now we've fixed those things. So that's my first win. Second win is like so another focus is to start teaching online. That's particularly with this Chrome community. So I sort of built like a small Twitter following and some, had some initial tests on getting people to sign up for things. So now it's just building the entire thing. I discovered that online teaching is actually first of all marketing and then teaching. So it's actually a marketing game mostly. So those are my um, two wins. So the second one is mostly
I'll come back.
sure. So that's it. That's and of course moving to Davao. I'm now in Davao. I'm doing this podcast at Davao. I've been here since October 2. So that's also a major win. So I'll be based here in the next few years.
Kahlil, question because while Carlos away, how's Davao? I mean, talking about the GCQ and everything. How are your cases there? Would you say it's
Uh,
going down?
I'm not following these things, man. Um, they're more. I think they're more strict here. It's
Okay.
like and they're more organized actually. Like
Mm,
you can say, so me, I got a swab test in Manila before I came here.
mm-hmm.
But a friend of mine came here. He got the swab test here when he arrived, and he was given board and lodging overnight. And he said it was okay. You know, good aircon, good food, and then they were pretty efficient. So this is things are organized here in Davao. It's like it's a strong government here.
But is it like, are people going out, or is it sort of like a lockdown situation there?
No, people are out.
Yeah, because like here in Cebu, ha, it's like we're back to normal, except people are wearing masks.
Yes, it's sort of like that. But I think when there's less traffic and less people in the malls,
Mm-hmm.
so people are still staying at home. A lot of
Oh,
people are still staying at home.
good for you. Here in Cebu, it's traffic na. I think Carlo can attest to that. It's been traffic
Uh,
lately.
yeah. I mean, I bike, so
Well, you,
you
yeah.
know. Yeah. I
Actually, I
mean,
bike now too. That will be my
I know.
win. So I probably will, because so Kalio's done with his win. I'll insert my win here, because now we're mentioning biking. I think for me, my biggest win is finding a balance. I call it a balance, a sustainable balance of biking and going riding a car, because before, remember I told you na I couldn't bike all the way home because I felt like I was so kapoy, and then I found out na I was using the wrong gear after all. So that was a big win for me, to figure out how to use gears. And now biking home is, I don't have to break a sweat anymore. So I bike now going back from Busai and to the city. And right now it's still 50% I ride the car, but I'm getting more and more, I would say, comfortable with biking to and from work. Even in rain, I can bike in the rain, although I don't recommend it, but only for emergencies. So that's my big win for me. And the second win is I have fixed a lot of major problems in the business. I'm feeling a little more optimistic now of reopening the hotel. So hopefully, we'll fix the major issues that I know I cannot fix when there are guests around. And we're slowly easing to it. I'm also applying for the reopening because, as a hotel or any business establishment that's related to the hospitality industry, you cannot reopen unless you file sa DOT, and there are a list of requirements that you have to follow, and I'm narrowing down to only a few more things that I need to accomplish before I can reopen. And then my third win would be fitness. I've been now on 2 months of getting a personal trainer, and my big win in the fitness is actually I've run out of plates. Like the thing before, yes, the plates that I need to put on the barbell, I've run out. The heaviest set of plates that I have is no longer enough for me. So that's a big win for me. It's very, I would say, affirming that what I'm doing is right. And I've also, because I bought those adjustable dumbbells before, and it reaches up to 52 pounds for my chest press, incline chest press, and even that's not enough anymore. So for me, my big wins are going beyond my equipment limitations. So for fitness side, I'm very happy about that because this is the first time I've done this in my entire life. So I guess the quarantine somehow unlocked this level for me, this fitness level for me that I could never have done a long time ago. I would have easily given up like in the first 1 month or so. But I'm 2 months into it, and lifting is just really good. So big win for me. So that's it. Hotel, biking, and lifting. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Oh, it's great. Great. Yeah, you're coupling your exercise with the commutes and everything, so you're getting some cardio pagid.
Oh, and it's fun. I mean, when you talked about it before, I would think like, what the hell is Carlo getting into? It's like that sounds so kapoy. But now that I'm doing it, it's like, wow. I mean, 10 kilometers feels short na. And for me, to classify it as a long ride, it needs to be at least 30 kilometers. So it's been fun.
Oh yeah, biking's
Yeah.
fun, man. Went biking this morning.
I just,
So me. Oh, what were you gonna say, John?
I just you remember when you said something about the brake pads that should last me like 2 or 3 months?
Well,
So it's
more
less than two
actually.
months. Yeah, and now it's like less than 2 months akong brake pads. I might need to replace it because I've been biking a lot of downhill.
Yeah, you know what I so when we were having that conversation and then I had to replace my brake pads, it turned out that my rotors were also worn out. So what happens when your rotors are worn out? Those are those metal discs
The
that
yeah,
the
the
brake pads
disc brake.
clamp to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what happens when they're worn out is that it wears out the brake pads even faster. So
Oh.
you might want to have somebody look at it or check it yourself. Like my brake pads, my brake rotors. So it's supposed to be like flat, let's say, right? So, but it was
Yeah.
like flat, and then there was like a little valley. If you really felt it with your thumb or your
Okay.
finger, you could feel like a valley going under. And I'm sure there's some wear and tear that is normal, but
Mm-hmm.
for my rotors, they just needed to be. I think what happened, Magod, was I was using the brakes even though the brake pads were kind of gone. So
Yeah.
the metal part was just eating to the rotor at some point.
Oh, okay.
No? Yeah. Just something
Oh yeah,
to double
I'll do
check.
that as a win day. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. That was what I mentioned sa atong chat. My biggest win was learning how to change brake pads, di.
Oh yeah.
That felt so fulfilling. It felt so fulfilling. Like I mean, my bike was orgasming all the time, so I needed to make it silent. And when I changed the brake pads, and then when I was braking already, it's so silent. Like,
Wait,
wow,
you
I
mean
can
you
do
cleaned
this.
your brake pads?
Yeah,
You cleaned it. Oh, I don't know how to
yeah.
do that.
Because like you sand it, and then you put denatured alcohol over it so that it burns out the
Uh,
contaminants.
I do not know how to do that. I have fortunately not have had to do that ever pa. No. Well, I'm sure I can find it on YouTube if I need to do it. My wins?
Yep, your wins.
Okay, so my wins is that I am now officially monetized on YouTube for my cycling channel. So pretty happy about that. It's been 2 days officially monetized. Um, so far the CPM is more than I expected. So I actually don't think I need to get as many views as I thought I would. But yeah, so far pretty okay. And then while that's happening, subscribers and views are still going up. Although I haven't had like a major hit in terms of videos. It's just like regular uploads and regular people viewing. I think like the people who view tend to be probably the same people, which is good also. That means they keep coming back. No.
Mm-hmm.
And my other win is that I have another social media client that stopped during the lockdown. Yeah, then they are starting again.
Mm.
So that's gonna make income a little bit better. No. And yeah, basically that's it. And my wife and kids are fine. you know, Despite the current challenges, no, which we can get into later. So those are my wins.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, challenges?
Well,
Or
you're you Khalil. You're next.
I'm done with my wins.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
challenges now.
challenges. Challenges.
Challenges. So, challenges, or the main challenge right now, at least particularly for this month, is to pass all my subjects for my masters. I realized that so my decision, maybe this is also a win because it's like, so next sem I will maybe take a leave of absence from my masters, so I could focus on the genomics project and also to produce the online class. So because like I realized that there's actually no need for me to graduate as soon as possible. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, it would be more fun and beneficial for me to be a student as long as possible and to just gradually. I mean, not rush it and
Mm-hmm.
to study like one subject at a time, something like that. So maybe leave of absence next sem, and then ongoing maybe just one subject or something like that per sem. So that's gonna be the plan. But this sem, I'm just gonna or this month I'm just gonna have to complete all my subjects, complete all the requirements, pass study well enough to pass the subjects. That's it. That's the main challenge. And then
Yeah,
or after that,
I can't imagine going back to school. You know?
no, like I mean, because of this discovery of this whole world of
Oh yeah.
memory techniques and this tools for thought. I mean, it's been sort of fun, like to use all these tools, like this Mind Palace and space repetition, and like this tool called Rome for this particular challenge. And it's
You know that
been interesting. Mhm.
that mind palace is kind of interesting. Do you use the technique of like you pretend you go inside your house?
Mhm.
Is that what you
That's
do?
basically it.
That's
It doesn't
basically
need to
it.
be your house, as any place where you're so familiar with, like the house you grew up in, anything which is like embedded in your mind, as you could recall, without effort. So and then you just there's like a process to just list down each corner of the house, and then you put an image or an object there which represents something you'd want to remember. So that's basically it. It's useful for short-term memory, like for instance taking a test. So, but for long-term, I think space repetition
Mm.
seems to work better. So
What's
I'm
that?
gonna space repetition is simply, well, so it turns out you remember long-term if you keep on practicing that sort of muscle of remembering a particular thing. For instance, remember a list of uh, things like maybe the 20 amino acids or something like that.
Mm.
So what you want to do is to remi- practice remembering it. So the effort of remembering it, like for instance, you start with like one day. The day after you memorize it, you recall it using an app, for instance. And then
Mm.
if you were successful, the app will schedule the next session after like longer number of days, after a longer duration. So, but if you fail, it will shorten the duration again. So maybe it's like if you're successful, it's going to be 3 days from now that you will practice again. If you are unsuccessful, it will be one day from now. So if you're successful with the 3 days, it will be like maybe 7 days. So there's an algorithm for that, and then the app just takes care of it. So that's basically I mean, it's like how you actually remember things, and it seems how human brains work.
That's a very fascinating, effective app.
It's
What's the name again?
interesting.
Well, the most popular one is Anki,
Hank
Anki, which is Japanese for I don't
Hanky.
know memory or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, are we taking notes? Is somebody taking notes?
Well, I'm taking notes of the high level things like challenges and the
Okay,
wins.
okay. Just
John is
double
also
checking.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, I see
Okay,
it.
because I am not doing that. You know
So
why?
this one, yeah.
With school. Sometimes you know what my nightmares are. My nightmares are I'm in school, and that like I have a deadline, and then like I have
No
a paper
way.
to pass. I am not kidding. Like I wake up and then like I'm all tense, and I realize, oh my god, I graduated years ago. I'm so happy. Uh,
What is it about school that you don't like?
Oh, I struggled in school. Well, college in particular. And then I took my MBA after. That
Mhm.
was not a big deal. Like that was fine. But like kanang after you get some work in the real world, then you realize none of this matters. You know.
Yeah.
So you kind of just realize like, okay, I just need to do whatever this minimum thing in order to be able to do well or pass. Like, and then back when you're in school, it seems like it's the only thing that matters. And then for whatever reason, I was super distracted, no, and just making bad decisions. Like, kanang, murag, should I go to class or continue playing basketball? Like just making bad decisions like that. So, yeah. So until now, that happens to be my nightmares for whatever reason. No.
That's fascinating.
Keep going challenges, Kyle.
Well, that's the main one. But after that, I need to complete the course. I just figure out this online teaching thing. It's an interesting challenge. I don't know yet what's going to happen with our grant application. Well, if we get it, then there are many things that would come after that, like getting a partner hospital here. It's a whole huge project that I need to execute. But well, for now, this month it's just going to be school.
For the teaching project, but this is for Rome, diba? Like teaching, I don't know,
Well,
Rome.
well, I have two things. No, that's not Rome, but like the community, because like that's the community I sort of have access to. I have like a dedicated Twitter account just for that, and some like growing number of followers from that community. Because it's effortless for me to talk about it. So I started making content. At some point, decided like I'll just make a separate Twitter account for this because I'm talking about this a lot or tweeting about this a lot. And then yeah, people signing up for events and this particular course. I'm planning to teach project management and also evidence-based entrepreneurship there. So I'm just trying to figure out how do you actually do that online, because I've been doing this for the past 10 years at companies and organizations. I've been teaching project management. So it's just a matter of transferring that online, but it seems it takes a lot of work, particularly in the marketing side, and also the creation of the course itself. So, John, I think that's basically my challenge. You might want to go next, John.
Okay, so my challenge is not really related to the cycling part, but more of actually still related to bikes. So I got so fascinated with e-bikes that I ended up deciding wanting to distribute the unit here in Cebu. So I talked to the guy who sold it to me in Manila, and he said, "Okay, I'll give you exclusive distributorship here in Cebu." So my challenge is, I'm not gonna say selling the e-bikes is the challenge. My challenge is changing the perception of people of e-bikes, because when I talk to my market right now about e-bikes, their mindset is like, oh, e-bikes is like what you see in Colon, those bikes na carrying passengers, and e-bikes are the things that you see in CDR King, the ones with
Mm.
car batteries. So my challenge as in selling the e-bikes, the e-bike that I particularly have is educating people what is an e-bike,
Mhm.
because there's a misconception of what an e-bike is right now.
Why don't you just call
So
it something else?
because it's like having to start all over again with something. But I tried to call it an electric bicycle. I really took out the word bike and make it bicycle, but
Mm.
it's still having that kind of misnomer or misrepresentation through the mga e-bikes sa Colon. Pero I'm getting there. I'm doing some Facebook advertising to get the word across that that's what I have. And at first, people have this perception na, oh, it's so expensive, because they're comparing it to the electric motorcycles that have car batteries. And those are
Mm.
cheap because they don't last very long. My e-bike batteries can last up to 10 years.
Mm.
So I'm slowly getting it out there. More and more people are curious. But yeah, that's become my challenge. I got so in love with the bike, I started selling it.
Have you sold some bikes already?
Oh, there are a few that been sold, but for me, I'd consider it a win if I finish off my first batch.
Mm.
But the
And
quality is really good. That's why I'm very happy about it.
what
Considering
kind
that,
of what's the profile of like the people who would be interested in this kind of thing?
it's a wide range, no. But first was I thought it would be people like me, people
Mm.
who are asthmatic and who struggle with biking mga tungas na area, mga steep areas. Like I live in Busay, so going up is not something I want to do every day on a bike, no? But doing it on an e-bike changes the whole thing. And if you're thinking about it now, today, when you look at Cebu City, everyone seems to be biking. There are hundreds, probably thousands of cyclists every day. But not everyone wants to go to their work in a very sweaty, you know, um,
Mm,
sweaty outcome after their commute. So I'm targeting those people. I'm also
mm,
targeting mga people na who are of age, like 50s, 60s, who still want to bike, but they want something that can support their biking. Because the nice thing about it is you still pedal, but the
mm.
motor helps you pedal. So it's still the cycling experience, but lesser effort. So those are the kind of people I'm getting into.
What are the most common objections?
The price,
The
because they
price.
always
Okay.
compare it with a motorcycle, because it's around
How much is it?
47. It's about 47,500. Which,
It's
if
cheap.
you're someone who doesn't know about e-bikes, you'll immediately think, a motorcycle is only like 50, 60K. Might as well get a motorcycle. But they don't also realize that there are hidden costs in motorcycles, like oil change, maintenance, gas, and all those things, registration. So that's when I'm able to compare to them. And when
Mm.
the thing is, it's really just getting them to ride it. The moment they ride it, it's so easy to sell.
How could you maximize the number of rides?
What do you mean maximize the number of rides? Like
I mean, if it's the key point of like converting
selling?
someone to selling. So if you increase that, I imagine more people will buy.
Yeah, so that's my next step. Right now, I haven't really put it out there. I just more of promoted videos. My next ad campaign is going to be test ride. So the key communication message is try it out, and the location will be in the city, so people can try it out when they're here in the city. And well, not here. I'm not in the city now, but back in Cebu Business Park, they can try it out.
Mm.
So that's my next campaign. The first campaign was really just trying to see how people perceive the product. And that's when I learned that there's a lot of misconception, there's a lot of comparison to motorcycles. But I know that people buy once they get to ride it.
Yeah, you can incorporate that in your ad copy, like all those objections and how you respond to them.
Yeah, that is a very good idea. I think the challenge with that one though is how to compress it, because I noticed, well, in previous ads that I run, the more text that you have, the tendency is higher ang cost of the ad. So I try to compress it further. But that's a good point. I'll take note of that. Adding those mga pain points of people. So Carlo, I was mentioning that my challenge was trying to change the misconceptions of people for the e-bike product I'm selling.
Yeah, what I was thinking about was, aren't there already people who don't have that misconception? Like they're sold to it already?
Um, Actually, no. Most of the people who know about e-bikes, well, there is actually. Sorry, let me correct myself. There is, but there are not a lot of them. And if they are there, they're leaning as well towards e-scooters because of the speed. Because e-bikes are not super fast; they're just practical.
Mm.
That's interesting. I would have thought that. Actually, I thought that e-bikes would be faster
No,
than
actually,
scooters.
the small e-bikes, the ones that you see like in Xiaomi or the Fido, those only run up to 25 kilometers per
When you say
hour.
scooter, it's like the the, the bike. What's called this? The bike scooter, not the
No,
scooter
when you
that you're
No, the
using.
push, the
scooter na
push.
kick scooter,
That's faster than a bike or than e-bike.
the bigger ones.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's interesting.
but they're
No, I
also more
think in
expensive.
the with the e-bikes, I don't know the ones that you're selling, John, no, but a lot of the e-bikes have speed limiters.
Yes,
The
that is true.
battery, the battery just conks out once you reach a certain speed. Like that's
Not
by,
necessarily conk out, but it's like
I mean,
it won't let you get
turns
any
off.
faster than that. Yeah,
Yeah. So you can go faster, but you're human powered not at that point.
that's true. But like for example, with my e-bike, the fastest that I've gone on it was 40 kilometers per hour. And for those electric riders, I'll classify the target market, those who are looking for electric rides. The electric riders, 40 kilometers per hour is slow. So
Mm.
they're looking for
Yeah,
anything 50 above.
yeah, but practically speaking, you never. I mean, for commutes, you don't go over
Yeah.
40 that
No, no,
often,
no. And it's also
di
not
ba?
safer. Here's the thing I realized about it. Anything above 30 kilometers, your risk suddenly doubles. Below 30, you're able to still handle your environment, stop when you need to, you know, dodge mga obstacles. But anything above 30, even not just for bikes, for scooters as well, it becomes dangerous. So 30 is like the safe zone for me.
Yeah, but I wonder if we're, ge- we're basically what I was asking you about was like I wonder if you could find these people who are early adopters ba. Kanang they are the ones na who will tell, the middle of the bell curve
Yeah,
people
I'm
to
trying
buy.
to do that. That's why I created a Facebook group called Cebu Electric Bikers United. Sorry, Cebu
Mm.
Electric Bicycles United. Cebu.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to form
Uh,
that group. Some of them already have e-bikes, but also here's the thing pala. There's a lot of hate for e-bikes.
Yeah.
I
well, yeah,
d-
that's kind of true.
no. There's a lot of
From
hate for
from
e-bikes.
whom? From whom?
Huh. From
Bikers.
number one, from cyclists. Yes, number one haters are cyclists. They just hate us. Like in one of the Facebook groups, somebody just told me, "Ha, e-bike di ka mo asenso ana."
Well, that's not
What?
necessarily hate, but there is a level of that for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say here in Cebu I wouldn't say here in Cebu naaman, but like kanang culturally speaking, kanang in the US, there really is like a e-bike negativity.
But no, here in
I
Cebu
mean,
there is. Because I talked to the people in the small group that I formed, and they said, "Yeah, what's up with people? Why do they hate us?"
mm,
So, like
yeah.
one of the riders said to me na while he was riding, somebody shouted at him, not even a traffic enforcer. Somebody shouted at him, "Uy, dakpon ka."
I part I don't know, okay. There's like a level of like when you're new to commuting,
Yeah.
like on a two-wheeled vehicle, there's like a level of newness nga murag. Like I remember when I first started, like I snapped at a taxi driver.
You
I
did?
Yeah, man. Like I jeep. I hit like a jeepney with my hand. Yeah, I shouted at him as I went by. I was like, "Di ba kakibaw mo drive?" And then I just sped past him because he was stuck in traffic. Um, things like that. But like, I saw a car move a little bit. Kuratan ko, and I stared at the guy through his windshield.
Oh
Um,
my god.
but that
I
happened
don't think
like all within the first like 6 months, probably. You
I think
know.
I'm such a timid rider because I can never do that. I'm so scared of you see those Facebook videos na somebody suddenly pulls out a gun. I don't wanna ever encounter that.
Oh yeah, I don't stay. To be clear, I don't stay. I am moving when this is happening. Bam, do you want to come up and drive? And then I'm just like, I keep going.
Yeah. So yeah,
Um,
that's my challenge now. That yeah, good point about the early adopters. I'm still trying to figure out how exactly to get them, but I've started a community to hopefully get into that. And yeah, I like that you said that it's cheap. That means you know the price range for e-bikes in general because people
yeah,
don't know that. Uh, but
no, but
yeah,
like
I'll
the
eventually get there.
e-bike, the typical e-bike is a six-figure bike.
That's
You
true.
know,
Hmm.
so but to be clear, the ones that are six figures are not meant to be commuter bikes.
They're
They're
meant for
meant to be
mountain.
like adventure mountain.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
they're
actually
called
saw. Sorry.
they're called mid-drive e-bikes, meaning the motor
Mm.
hub is not in the wheel; it's in the crank.
Mm.
So that's why it's
Yeah.
expensive because they're mid-drive.
Yeah, because I saw two of my friends in a bike shop yesterday actually, and they both
Mhm.
own fancy e-bikes. Like
Mm.
they're not commuters, but they are like they basically, since there's no other form of exercise, so they ended up somehow getting bicycles as far as I know. And then kanang they've been using it as basically adventure bikes, going on long rides up the mountains, and the electrical component of it makes it a lot easier for them to
And
do it.
fun.
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah,
so
for
much
sure. Like
fun.
it's so much fun, I'm sure. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my challenge for the bike part. I have a challenge when it comes to reading. Recently, I've sort of hit a wall. Like when I try to read, I'm just not I'm just not in the material anymore. My mind starts to float. And it wasn't like that before. I used to be able to sit down and just focus on what I'm reading. So it's a challenge for me to really focus on my reading materials. I'm trying to, I don't know, find a reset of some sort. Because I know I used to be able to be in the zone for reading, but now I'm stuck. And then my third,
Maybe it's what you're reading, John. Maybe it's the book you're reading. That's a problem.
possibly, I've been reading nonfiction lately, so maybe that's a thing.
No, I mean, as long as
um,
it's interesting, fiction
yeah,
or nonfiction, it will
it
capture
is.
your attention.
Like for example, Nassim Taleb's Anti-Fragile. I mean, I still couldn't finish it, but it's interesting, but I can't finish it.
No, I mean, read something else. I mean, if you couldn't finish it, that means it's not interesting.
Yeah,
It's not interesting enough.
I have
probably I'll
nothing.
try to shift.
That's why the Kindle is so great, man. Like you have all your books there. If you get bored with one, you just move to the next one. So I learned that from Naval Ravikant, and it has transformed how I
Oh,
read, and just continuously read because I only read things I'm interested in.
okay, I
Yeah, I
So I
have
see.
always
nothing
have a backup. Yeah,
to add, kay. Like I realized a long time ago I find it very difficult to read a book. Like in
but you
general.
but you've been reading through the audiobooks, right? But you've stopped that
Um
after stopping biking
I
or stopping
yeah,
driving.
yeah, so that's the interesting thing now. So like on the audiobooks and the podcast, I was kind of behind because I stopped driving. So I stopped having this outlet to listen to all of these things. No? Are you done, John? Because I can segue to my challenges with this.
Yeah.
You can keep
I guess
going.
one last challenge na lang siguro.
Hmm.
Um, the cardio side. I still feel like I need to do more endurance training. I don't know. I'm trying to. My dad wants to get me an X-ray because I don't know. It's been like two masterminds already, and I still am kutason. I still am out of breath a lot, despite na biking more. So my challenge is to figure out what exactly is wrong and try to therapy it so that I get better. So that's it. That's
You're gonna have an
pretty much it.
X-ray for your lungs.
Lungs and heart. We want to make sure that I'm not having an enlarged heart because my heart rate's pretty high. Mostly, like for example, right now my resting heart rate is 92, 95.
Resting? No, you're right. Your heart rate right now, not resting.
Sitting down, like now,
Okay,
yeah.
resting heart rate is like when you wake up first thing in the morning.
When I wake up in the morning, it's around 90s as well. So we're gonna be checking on that.
Are you
Because
sure?
normally, yeah, I know it's weird. And but I
Your
the thing is,
abscess, your abscess resting heart rate, your abscess
when I wake
resting
up,
heart rate.
when I wake up when I wake up, I check my heart rate. So it's like mga 90s.
Really?
Yeah,
That's high.
I know. That's why I need to have it checked. There must be something going on. So my challenge is to figure out what's wrong because it's affecting my running, my cycling. I haven't really gone long endurance because battery operated. But funnily, I can do my lifting quite well. It's just the cardio component that's weak.
Yeah, maybe you should have that looked at by like resting heart rate of 90 is, I don't know, Khalil, you probably know more than I do, but I can't imagine
Mm.
that's normal.
no, I haven't really explored this area, so I
Hmm.
don't know.
But yeah, Dad said get a chest X-ray.
Yeah.
So that's my
Yeah, that's
challenge.
probably a good idea. Yeah, so can I segue to my challenge? So like so Kala was saying like I don't know, like 2 or 3 years ago I stopped listening to audiobooks because I just stopped driving. And that was the place
Mm-hmm.
that I used to listen to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts. And as I mentioned off air, me and my wife and my kids, we moved back here to Mandaue because my father-in-law started having some medical issues, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we're here, and one of the things that we found out when we got here was, long story short, is he has no help. No, kind of like they actually went home. They went home because nagsabot sila that they'll go home and then come back after 2 weeks. But
But
then but then so they came back. But as part of our sabot was, you have yourself tested for COVID
yeah,
because I mean, if you're gonna basically any job right now, if you're gonna get a job, you're gonna get tested.
true.
And the guy, it's a husband and wife man. The husband refused to get tested. I think
Well,
he was
what did he
scared or
state his
something.
reason?
I think he was scared. The problem on good is there's so much uh, misinformation,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're a certain like kanang income bracket, no, and you just don't know any better, a certain education level, and you just don't know any better. Makuyawan ka. So he refused to get tested. So they were here already. And of course, we refused to
Let him in.
let them in as help because, hello, there's people here. And yeah, my dad has medical problems. We don't want
Mm-hmm.
to unsa pa lang. So they went back home. So as a result, we are doing all of the housework in this
Uh,
house that is too big for us. No? And that means that I have time now to listen to podcasts. I do the dishes uh, and clean the kitchen.
oh my god,
So
I
I don't
hate
know.
doing the dishes. It's like the worst
Yeah, it's
household chores.
okay. Well, it's
Yeah,
not so bad because because I get to listen to the podcasts. Number one, I'm so caught up now in my podcasts, and it's kind of okay because kami Steph, we bought a house here in Mandaue also, and this was our plan actually to really do everything ourselves. The thing is, the house that we bought is smaller, which means we don't have to
Easier.
do as much work, which is one of the nicer things. And we were gonna buy a dishwasher. Uh,
Oh, but
that helps.
interestingly, the dishwasher is more efficient in water than manually washing the
Yeah,
dishes yourself. I read about that. That was something that's so interesting because you know how Asians are like, oh, we're not going to use the dishwasher in the US because it's costly, but it's actually more efficient.
it is. I heard that too. So we're not gonna buy a dishwasher here because we don't. This is not our house.
Yeah.
No. Um, if they want to, they can buy one. But in the meantime, that's what's happening. So it's a challenge in a sense. It's kind of a grind to do
Hmm.
for everybody, for me and my wife in particular. Um, but what I mean, silver lining is I get to listen to my podcasts while I'm doing it. It's nice alone time in a way, which
Hmm.
it's nice to have. Somebody like me. I'm kind of used to people asking for my attention all the time, which has happened already a few times in the 48 minutes that we have gone live, right?
Yeah.
So it's easy to just look at them with wet hands and soap in your hands and say, I can't do anything for you right now. And, you know, so that's a challenge. Let me just look at my código. No,
Question,
uh,
Carlo, as well. Do the kids
yeah,
help as well in the chores?
yeah. So they're still 3 and 5. So there are certain limitations, but they have toys. They have a lot of toys. It was just their birthdays, like a month ago, basically, and so the toys in the everyday at some point just gets put all over the floor. So as part of our routine, every evening before they shower, they have to clean up their toys. No, And really, it's more work for the parents than the kids because the parents have to force them to do it most of the time. But that's basically part of their chores right now. No, then as they become older and bigger, then they will eventually be doing all the work. Trust me. um, yeah, for me, that's my main challenge. I've just been chugging along. No, as long as I get to do, yeah, here. As long as I get to do my 3 YouTube videos a week, my podcast a week, my newsletter, and service my social media clients, I am okay. No.
Cool. By the way, Carlo, I think I've mentioned this in the past because I
Mm,
also have been able to listen to more podcasts because I'm also washing the dishes.
yeah.
Um, so I discovered how to sort of take notes or make
While
highlights
washing
of
the
podcasts.
dishes.
No, I just stop and then
Okay.
record, make a screenshot, and then I share that in Twitter. So anyhow, like I think I mentioned this in the past. Like, how do you actually make highlights so that you could remember the parts of podcasts that you find interesting? So like a permanent record. So my Twitter now is sort of it's like a note taking app for me as well. So it's like I remember things there, what people said, and I reference those tweets when the right time comes. So it's that's like maybe a cool thing that I've been doing.
I do a version of that. I have it on my notepad, and I just have a notepad that says things I learned 2020. No, and I'm at like 130 something at this point. Actually, remember we keep talking about Rome,
Mhm.
and basically, if I want to get started, I should just look at that document and organize everything. But I don't really want to get started, so we'll see. No,
Cool.
yeah.
All right. So we're done
The
with the challenges.
challenges.
Cool. So
We're now
now
at
Goals,
goals and system
system
updates.
upgrades.
Okay. So goals is essentially to just to do well in my exams and final reports and all that. That's my goal. So which means probably changing my schedule to have more time for study. Um, yeah, that's my goal for this month. The system upgrade. I'm just gonna share that as my cool thing later.
Okay, okay, that's it.
Yep, that's it.
See you, John.
well, for my goal is really to what day are we today? So we're now on October 22. My goal is to reopen the hotel on or before first week of November. Um, I'm really hoping that I can open by then, if God allows. Na no more new problem opens up, because I heard, and stir pa ni, but nothing official in the news. I heard that Cebu's gonna lower pag their quarantine status from MGCQ to new normal. So if that is indeed true,
Is that
um,
what's is that what's the next level? It's just new normal.
yes, yes,
People
I
just keep
know it's
inventing
weird.
these
I know it's weird, but that's what I
levels,
heard. The exact word, new normal.
and then the
Yeah,
next one will be modified new normal.
yeah, but on the business side, no, it's really important that we do go below MGCQ, because it's really hard to pick up from where we left off. It's so hard. It's super hard right now. And even as we're speaking, as a hotel, the struggle is just unbelievable. Pero yeah, I'm hoping na by on or before November, I can reopen the hotel. That's like the biggest goal right now. The second goal is I want to be able to start going back to my vlogging, because sayang because my channel's still building up subscribers. I'm now up to 1,400 subscribers, and I've already reached $10, or I don't know. The last time I checked was 2 weeks ago, and I had $10 already. So, it makes sense to put effort into it, but I haven't been able to do so because I got caught up with the biking and the hotel stuff. So I'm hoping I can find a way to make it regular, that I post at least once a week content, because the stuff that I make are long tail content. They're evergreen content, so they can be used over and over again. And I think that there's really a market for it. I get recommended a lot, and some keywords really lead to my videos. I don't know, Carlo, if you're checking keywords that lead to your videos. Nana siya sa
Yeah,
analytics. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's
My
very
best, sorry, my best videos are the ones that kanang that people find out months and months after it's been posted.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the kind of stuff na I'm creating. Na people, they I don't it doesn't get a lot of views immediately when I upload, but it picks up over the months, and it really builds up traffic. So I'm trying to incorporate that as something na hi, hey Macoy, hi. So we're now at the challenges part, but we'll get to you after siguro for the wins
I,
and sorry, goals
yeah,
pala.
well, how about this? We'll do all of our challenges, and then
Yeah.
we can do like a special
Segment
kanang
for
thing
Macoy.
for Makoy. He can just go straight.
Oh,
It'll
sige.
be
I'm
all
sorry,
about
we're not.
him, just how he likes it.
Yeah, goals day. We're at the goals na day, not challenges.
Goals. Let's
Yeah.
finish.
So my goal is basically to get back to vlogging, but without eating up so much of my time to upload that one video a week. So that's the hotel, the vlogging, and yeah, I'm gonna put this as a goal again. It was my goal last time, but I wasn't able to achieve it. Carlo, please come with me. 100-kilometer ride.
Oh yeah, well, that's also part of my challenge right now. So since of my because of my living situation, I actually have to be back home at a certain time, and
Ah,
then
that
that
explains your
is
last
like
video.
yeah. So like I leave the house like super early. Sometimes some of those videos I left at 4:30, 4 o'clock. Just to have a good long ride. Just have to be back at 7. Weekends 8.
Mhm.
So it is what it is. So if
Yeah.
you're
So
100K ride is a bit long
okay, but yeah, that's
time
my goal.
wise.
I want to be able to do that because my odometer right now is I'm at 300 plus kilometers, and I'm hoping that before the year ends, I reach 1,000 kilometers.
Oh yeah.
I'm becoming you, Carlo. I'm becoming you. I'm counting my kilometers now.
Yeah, I didn't want to tell you how many kilometers I don't really want to check. I'm sure it's much higher.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm quite sure. But yeah, that's my goal. I want to just make sure that I'm progressing with my cycling.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. My turn.
Yep.
Yeah, so my goals, I actually kind of already mentioned it. So basically, I just want to make sure I get to do my 3 videos a week on my one podcast, the newsletter, and then service my social media clients. And I've been thinking about this for a while now. Nga, okay. So I've been doing the social media work for who knows how long, right, Kahlil? Like we were doing a mastermind in 2016, and somehow through that mastermind, I came out we came out I came out of that with the idea to do social media work, and actually for a couple of years now it's been the bulk of my kanang regular
Bread and
income in
butter.
terms of cash flow, no. uh and it's been doing okay, but I don't think it's gonna be something that can be kanang like I don't feel like it has a good 5 to 10 year to 20 year
Sustainability.
outcome. Yeah, like kanang it's not something that I don't think we can do for that long ba. And I'm starting to think in those terms. So So initially for 2020, that's why I wanted to start a business of my own. Yeah, that was going to be the bike shop, and really, put my chips in on me, right?
Mhm.
And the pandemic happened, and I was late to the game, so that's not going to happen right now. Especially right now, there really is like a lack of uh, supply at this point in time, right? So,
Mhm.
but with the whole YouTube thing, it got me thinking. This is actually a decent way to in a way bet on myself. No, this is something that might actually have longevity. Now, I won't be relying solely on ads. No, we want to sell some sort of product, and that's one of the things that I'm going to get into. I don't know. Hopefully next week or next week, I'll be able to initially put it out there and sell. So I'm already at that point where I can do that. Um, but the point is to somehow get kanang good enough income where I can confidently say, okay, I can I can get to the point where we fade out the social media clients where I won't need them anymore. No? Kanang if I get to that point, maybe that should be my overlying goal, no? Kanang get to that point where in a way my income will be not dependent on other people in that sense. I mean, it's
You
of course
mean
income is dependent on other people, but like kanang, like
you
in a way
want to
betting on
shift
myself.
you want to shift from service based into product based business, being the product being you.
Oh,
I think,
sure.
yeah, I think the better way
Okay.
to frame that is like to build something that compounds over time, because like a
Yeah.
service, it's like you're exchanging your work for money. But for instance, media or technology, I mean, it's as long as you create it, it could compound over time, no?
True.
Or relationships. So I think that's the way to frame that, no?
Yeah, like I've been so like I mentioned in the top, nga murag, the YouTube channel's finally monetized. It's been 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is. And kanang I'm to be honest, I'm kind of surprised because my computations, my predictions were actually very low in
And
terms
you were hitting
of
more.
no, like in terms of CPM because I wasn't sure man good how much the CPM is. Yeah, basically kanang how much per thousand views you would get ba, no?
Mhm.
And basically it's times two what I thought it would be. So murag kanang so far. I mean it's been 2 days. I can't really say, but so far it's been times two that. So it just means nga I'm not that far off from getting pretty decent income. Especially I looked at see there's another cyclist. He's a triathlete actually. Si Christian Lim here in Cebu. He started
Mhm.
his channel. I think it was last year. No, and
Yeah.
he's been pretty consistent. Keeps posting and his advantage is he is a coach and triathlete, so he can post like training related stuff and
Mhm.
have real accountability to it. And he's been able to grow his channel to 6,000 subscribers na, no? In a short span of time in like what, 2 years. And kanang that seems pretty doable, I think, considering the about like YouTube growth, but it's kind of exponential in a way.
Yeah, it
Am I
is. It
using the
is.
term right?
Yes,
Exponential.
it is exponential because the longer you go, the more the increases happen.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doubles
So
actually, double.
yeah, like my thinking was like the first 100 subscribers were super hard to get. It took forever.
Yeah.
And then but from 100 to 500, it was the same amount of time to get the 100 subscribers to 500. And then from 500 to 1,000, it probably was about the same amount of time. Organia ba? And then so I hit like 1,000 subscribers like I don't know, end of September, whatever it was. And now I'm at like 250, 1 3, I'm not sure. So
I think your
30 per,
subscriber growth is quite fast, huh?
yeah, so I hope it continues, you know, um, because that just means better income moving forward. Now,
Mhm.
if it doesn't happen, then at least I still have the social media clients that I can rely on. No? But long term, I think doing something like this is the way to go, and somehow monetizing from this, kanang, from the attention, basically. No,
Mhm.
yeah. So that's gonna be my goal. I don't have a time frame for it. I'm just gonna keep chugging along.
John, weren't you gonna do like a bird one, like a bird YouTube channel or something?
Yeah, I did, and it's working. It's running. My problem is, I kind of sort of lost touch on making videos. So I've stopped making videos for more than a month, more than 2 months now. But the revenue is still happening, huh? I mean, I've reached some goals over the weeks. Sorry, over the months that I haven't been uploading videos. So murag, I need to put effort into it because money's happening, but I'm not making videos. So I hope to get that's part of my goal. Now I will make at least once a week. That's all I need, just once a week to post a video.
Cool.
Are we gonna do? Oh, why don't we go deep dive on Macoy, and then we'll top it off with cool things. What do you
Yeah,
think?
go Macoy.
Did that sound weird? Deep dive on Macoy.
Yep.
Koy,
All right. There's a video.
just to be clear, your audio is not that great. I think it needs to be closer to you. I don't know if you can do that while
Okay.
driving, or just speak louder.
All right, I'll speak louder. Is that better?
Okay.
Or
Sure.
does it sound like I'm yelling?
Doesn't sound like you're yelling.
It does.
No, no,
No,
it
no, no. It
doesn't.
sounds
We can
fine.
hear
So
you.
wins, Koy, wins.
Wins. So the COVID situation in New Zealand, in comparison to everywhere else, it's still pretty good. But anyway, we thought we had zero cases, and then we recently had like, just popping cases in the community. We don't know when. But anyway, the government's cut the budget.
Wow.
Yeah, so they got rid of staff because it's kind of it plateaued at some point. But the wins is I suppose I was doing something right with my job that I was one of the few that they kept.
Good
To
for you.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like
He came out in
yeah,
the newspaper. You can't fire the guy who came out in the newspaper.
yeah. So that's a really good win for me. And then um and like money stuff, like that house that I was planning to buy this year, that might be happening pretty soon. So fingers crossed. That's also a win. And I finished a book recently, which is rare. That's also a
Congrats.
win. Yeah.
What book?
It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys
What's
know
his
that
name?
one?
Dale Carnegie.
Carnegie.
Dale.
Dale
What's his name?
Carnegie. Yeah, Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
And
it.
that's
Have
actually
not
what my
read it.
thing. We'll get to that later. Sorry.
I know the book, but I have not read it.
Oh, I bet you like it. Like, yeah. So, like, actually, when I was like going through the book, I was like thinking about like the book's like cool because like it like sometimes you know the answer to the question already. You just have to be reminded,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. Like the things that the book talks about is pretty like basic, and like just being a good human being, not being an asshole, will get you very far in this life, sort of thing.
That's so
And then the book
interesting.
kind of like put the science into it, into being a good person, which applies to like everything from like relationships to dealing with daily conflicts to business to closing deals and things like that. Yeah. But anyway, that will be my cool thing. But
It-
yeah, those are like my wins for now, I suppose.
There's no section about like going on a Zoom call while driving, on how you probably should not do that.
What do you mean? I'm not looking at you guys. You're looking at me. I'm looking at the road, talking to you.
So what are your challenges aside from doing a mastermind while driving?
Carl, I thrive on multitasking. You should
Okay.
know by how many guitar pedals I have.
So,
Challenges. Challenges is just uh, well, like I'm still like kind of going through like what the whole like pandemic took, but it's not really like a objective thing. I guess it's just kind of challenge is just chugging along. It's like I'm in a good spot. Like I have a roof over my head. I have enough food. I have a source of living. Like my job doesn't eat my soul. Like I'm happy
you
with
feel
what I
good
do.
about your job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's not what I wanted to do, but it feels like it has purpose.
Yeah, because that was the
But
problem with your one of your jobs before, diba? Like you were
yeah,
not like you were doing fine, but you felt like a cog in a machine.
yeah, and yeah, touching base on what you said about like you're trying to change your means of like income because you don't feel that the current one is that sustainable. It's good, but it's not sustainable, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah.
that's how I feel, in hindsight about like the fancy insurance job. It was good, but it was not sustainable. Like especially for somebody like me who thinks about purpose. Yeah, I'll probably like hang myself sometime, 10, 15 years if I kept that job.
Okay, I thought you. Anyway,
You know what
so
I mean?
so
Like it's
that
not sustainable. It's not sustainable
yeah,
as like mentally. And I'm at
yes,
this point in life now, like things have to be sustainable because I don't have that long left.
it's a job you hate. It was a job you hate.
Yeah, it was a job I hate, but not just the job. Like think about relationships, right, and friendships. Like everything has to be sustainable. You can't waste time at some point in life. Just like stop hanging out with assholes. Stop hanging out with people you don't have anything in common with. That just
And
for
yet we
whatever
are
reason,
still friends.
fuck you. Carlo messages me like, why I have life problems. I'm so
What?
sad.
That is so not true.
Yeah, that's not true. But so of what you said. If we're just lying here,
But anyway, okay, so that's a
yeah,
challenge. So
yeah. I guess the
moving on.
challenge,
Ano
the
naman?
challenge is just the challenge is just
Yeah.
chugging along and just keeping on with like, because like the ship is in the right direction at the moment. Just keeping on, and then hopefully this whole thing blows. Like I think like the challenge is the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because as soon as this shit's over, like I can push through with what I want to do.
So you just
But
hold on for like another year or something.
yeah, I guess. Yeah, and in saying that, so my boss is part of the team that like I don't know, they do like community vaccinations. So they're in the
Mm.
loop about the vaccine. So apparently, like yeah, they're gonna start rolling out vaccines next year. I'm not sure if if there's already a vaccine or if kanang nalay murag projected vaccine that will come out next year, but they've already like planned for it, I suppose.
Mm.
Yeah, he told me like yeah, they'll be trying out vaccines next year, which is promising and really good. Just in terms of
Yeah.
like COVID updates. Yeah.
Well, if it comes out next year, then that was big. I mean, like then the projections of about a year is probably accurate.
Mm.
It's just
But
if
in saying
I
that,
mean, we hope.
I've been paying attention sa kanang the trials that they're doing. Like the last time I read it, like they're testing out 128 vaccines. Like none of them successful so far.
Oh, oh well,
Yeah, but
I
working
guess.
on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So goals and system upgrades.
It's really all about me, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, viewers, for being tardy. Goal system upgrades. Like, I guess, like, read more, like, just learn more. Yeah, I guess. There's like I have a couple of books like in line.
What do
Did
you
we say
have in line?
audiobooks? Yeah.
Matt. My son's
Yeah.
crying. 1 second.
And yeah, I guess like because
Macoy,
now
I'm curious
yeah
about how you came across the book by Daniel Carnegie. That's a really
yeah.
old book. Why did you come across that book?
So it's funny. It's Mastermind actually. Remember that one Mastermind we had with Mo like months
Yeah.
ago? I think the only Mastermind we had with Mo. Yeah, he mentioned a book. He mentioned a book kanang kuan Never Split the Difference by the
Voss,
ex-FBI.
yeah,
Yeah, boss.
something like the Voss, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I read that one, and then it touched on Nassim Taleb, and then I think I'm looking at Nassim Taleb, and
Yeah.
Koy,
he
you got
mentioned.
it
You cut
touched on
off when
Nassim
somebody.
Taleb and then
Oh yeah. So remember that thing, Carl, katong Mastermind we had with Mo, and
yeah.
he suggested katong the Never Split the Difference.
It touched on Nassim Taleb and then
And then I read that, and then there's a part sa katong Never Split the Difference with that talked about Nassim Taleb, which led me to go to that, and then Nassim Taleb referenced this book.
Cool.
which book? Ah,
And then
Doing
yeah,
friends. Yeah.
that's how I got to it.
Nice.
Mm.
I'm reading.
Yes.
I'm reading what you call this, the latest one right now.
I'm
Skin in
sorry.
the Game. I'm reading Skin in the Game right now.
Skin in the
So
Game
that-
by
Nassim Taleb. There are 4 books now. Like Full Day Randomness, Black Swan, Anti-Fragile, and the 4th one is Skin in the Game.
What's it about?
More of
Having
like
skin in the
how to like operating in a world of uncertainty, as with the right ethics or something like that. Like,
I'm sure he talked about the banking crisis where the banks have no skin in the game essentially. Diba?
Well, yeah, it's like constantly attacking people without skin in the game, from politicians to rent seekers to like, everyone who's making money from transferring risk to other people using power or all other things.
There's a surprising number of institutions and people who do that. Kind of you'd think that they would be responsible for it, ba? But then you realize they are not. Like kanang kind of majority of the politicians, if they make a mistake, nothing really happens to them. Kind of the banks, they caused a crisis and then they were bailed out by government. All of these things.
The
Surprising
most practical thing is like, who do you listen to? Like when people give you advice, it's like people who don't have skin in the game. It's like, how could you trust advice from them? Or it's like it's suspect if they don't have skin in the game. Like, it's like that's the most practical thing I'm taking away from that book right now. I'm just beginning it.
And it's fascinating when you mention all those, because when you get a clear picture of how the system's so messed up, you can't help but somehow also agree with mga conspiracy theorists, but not totally agree with what they say, but you get why they're conspiracy theorists.
Where were we, Koy?
He wants to read more and learn more. So for systems upgrade.
And he mentioned he's piling up audiobooks.
Like the thing is, like reading and like audiobooks, they're not fun. They're not easy. Like it's an endeavor that you kind of have to like put it on and listen to it and like digest it.
At some point, man, it will become fun. At At some point, it will you will discover the things you like. It becomes easier. Like like when I imagine when you started skateboarding, it was a grind as well. Learning it, but at some point, you become good at it, and it just becomes like second nature. You no longer notice the effort. It's just engagement with ideas. So yeah,
Koy,
so
yeah, sorry, Kyle. Are you
go
done?
ahead,
I thought you're
go
done.
ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. So what got me thinking, said Koy, is that sakto was Kyle. I guess it does become fun, but I'm curious to know to find out nga, what is like the have you figured out your preferred way to learn?
Um. Oh, yeah. I guess when something just sparks my interest, like
No, but like
there needs to be a seed planted in my head that, oh, that I can't just go randomly. I'll learn about stars today.
Hmm.
I'll learn about insects today. I can't do that. Like,
no, I
it,
meant
it
like
needs.
I meant so for example, I'll use me as an example, huh? So like I mentioned when you weren't here that I actually can't read books. Like I used to try to read books and I
Mhm.
just gave up on it, right? And
Yeah.
because I just can't get myself to do it. Like I'll buy a book and I'll end up reading half of it in 6 months. It's just there on my side table. I'll read a page, I fall asleep, and nothing happens. And then when I discovered audiobooks, then all of a sudden very easily, quote unquote, read a book once a month. No,
Yeah.
uh, and although you can argue, maybe retention is harder, taking notes is harder because it's an
Mm.
audiobook. But the point is, my comparison was either nothing
Yeah.
or audiobooks. No, and I
Mm.
found that the audiobooks I could very easily digest. No, so
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a if you've figured out your preferred medium in a sense of how to learn.
Mm. Um. The thing is, like, audiobooks definitely a lot easier because I can just put it on while I'm doing stuff, right? But it's just as hard for me to listen and digest it as I'm reading. Yeah, and I'm the same as you. Like, it takes me like at least 2 3 months to finish a book, at least. That's really fast for me. But with an audiobook, I can finish it in like a couple of weeks. Like the Dale Carnegie one. Um, like I think it's like 9 hours, like audiobook. Yeah, but
So where do you
digesting it,
listen to
yeah.
the audiobook?
I'm sorry.
Where do you listen to the audiobook?
Drives definitely.
Okay na. And when you're
Yeah,
by yourself, I assume, while
yeah.
driving.
Yeah. So surprisingly, I'm like, I wasn't kidding about I thrive on multitasking. I can play video games and listen to audiobooks, and it yeah, I retain it.
Oh, then kana.
Eh,
Then that might be your thing. Like I noticed that about me, so I just gave up on all reading of books. Like I instead of putting my effort there, I just said,
Mhm.
okay, this is what I like to do. This is my preferred medium in a sense. It's all audio. So I just
mm.
decided nga majority of my learning will be audio.
Yeah. How about
Yeah, no,
Khalil, John? You guys prefer audiobook or like books?
Books.
Books.
I like
I,
reading books, physical books.
I have another way of looking at it. It's like just in time learning versus just in case learning. So
Mm,
just in time learning is like you learn because you have a problem to solve or
mm,
you're curious about something. So it's very hard to do just in case learning. It's like maybe this will be useful for me in the future. But if it's like an urgent problem right now, a burning problem, it's like I have this problem in business, I have problems in relationship, I have this other problems. Like what do I need to learn in order to solve this? So you're very
mm,
motivated to learn. So you just find
yeah.
a book that could answer that. Even if it doesn't
Mm,
have the answer, you'll be motivated to read it or listen to podcasts or whatever medium it is. It's you have greater motivation to actually
mm,
seek or to get something from that book, not just like fulfilling that some sort of like, okay, I need to do this and this is my goal. I mean, you have a mission, and then okay, this is going to be a tool for this mission of mine. So I think
Mhm.
that's one way of looking at reading as a solution to a problem right now.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, it goes back to katong what you said, Koy. Katong you only find motivation to learn when kanang you have something you're interested in. It's usually you're interested in it in a way kay that's kanang just in time learning. Kanang that's what you wanted to learn at that very moment in time, no?
Yeah.
Kanang and maybe you wanted more friends and you wanted to influence people. That's why you read the book.
Yeah, funny you
I
say
don't know.
that, Khalil. Okay, there's actually a part in the book that talks about like there's like an anecdote there about Nai Factory, right? And yeah, like like one shift was doing like was so much less productive than the other shift. Now, the boss, instead of like yelling at the underproductive shift, what he did was he like had a board or something that he wrote like, like if they were, I forgot what they were producing. Let's say they're producing like a car or whatever. So in this shift, they produced 7 cars. So he wrote 7 on the board, and then the next shift would come and they would produce, they'd produce like 9 or 10. Now he basically what he did there was he ignited the sense of competition without telling them what it was. It was just a number on the board. So the underproductive like shift, they saw it as like, oh, that's a challenge to overcome. We need to be better than those guys, and they out excelled. They doubled their productivity. And then the book kind of explains that, like, at the core of every human being, we're just like, we are the most important person. Like, sadly, we're all just narcissists in a way. Onya, the the trick as a good leader is how to kind of use that like wiring in our DNA ba, to
How to
motivate
exploit it.
other people. To exploit it basically, but how can we do that to ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can we spark that sense of competition, that sense of like worth? Okay, basically what happened was, when that boss wrote like, the numbers on the board, he murag iyang mirror ang murag, oh, the worth, because when the lower productive shift like excelled, they felt good about themselves. And at the end of the day, that's just what everybody wants. We just want to feel good about ourselves as a human being,
Mm-hmm.
be it be productive, be it be more, whatever, succeed. So the trick now is to, like, all right, how do we trick ourselves? How do we utilize that knowledge into us
Mm-hmm.
personally? How do we spark enthusiasm within ourselves?
But I have a more, what you call this, a more I guess nuanced or approach to that way of motivating oneself, because like
Mm,
for each one of us, I think you have a part which desires meaning and purpose, and
mm,
another part which is more of an animal, like more of like desires novelty, recognition, and like a competition. So I think you need to address both parts. That
mm,
whatever you're doing or whatever your goal is, you have to be able to convince yourself, or you have to see the meaning in that, and as well as like to set it up so that there's some fun in it. Like you could get
mm,
recognized, like "Oh, actually this mastermind is sort of a hack for that, because whatever we're doing, we're sharing our successes, and
mm,
we're sharing our challenges. So we are sort of performing in front of this audience. It's not just like we're like alone in
Mm-hmm.
this in this in this struggle. to do whatever we're doing. So yeah, this is that's like what I've learned the past years as well. Like not
Thanks,
only
Mark,
to
for broadcasting this.
No, but even if we weren't broadcasting it, it's like kanang the fact that you guys are here, that there are other people, even if it's just three other people, kanang gives a level of accountability ba?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
and in a way, you kind of like I don't want to use the word performance, but it kind of is like kanang you want to you know we're motivated to in a way perform in a sense nga you know you do what you promised to to you know what you said you know you fulfill the
There's a third party accountability check.
yeah
Yes.
yeah, because like
and that's
you
one
know,
of
like
the
look at if you look at human history, most of the human history, like we have been operating in the context of a tribe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's just how we operate. You know, it's like we are tribal people. We are motivated by the recognition of our peers, that we our impact among the small group. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the way it is. I mean, if you wanna achieve something, when there's part of you which is that tribal animal or that tribesman.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, this is this also makes like the journey more fun. By the way, Carlo, I think I'm not sure if like anyone is actually listening to this at this point. We're like one
uh
hour and 30 minutes into the conversation. Do you have like
yeah
stats? It's like if actually people listen to
You can check
this
the
point of
feed.
you
the
can see
of,
there's like
yeah, you can
kanang
see that.
it's been
Okay.
yeah it's been dropping off like 2 3 1 0
Yeah.
it
So
depends.
it's like
Every live stream is different for me. Like kanang there are some hovers at around 50, 20, but this one is a low one. But then why
who
do you
wants to
ask?
actually no, because
Yeah,
like
no one's
okay
viewing right now.
Was concerned that like we're broadcasting this and we're like maybe presenting this to people or whatever. I mean, it's like it's just at my I think this is just like any other mastermind. I mean,
Yeah.
who would listen to like 1 hour and 30 minutes of like our this conversation? But anyhow, it's still good content. I mean, I get that. Why is this? Anyways, like it's gonna be it will be more valuable if more people listen to it. Perhaps even if it's just one person gets something of value from
Yeah,
this.
you would be
It's really more
surprised
valuable. No?
because no, you'd be surprised because once it's posted as a podcast, for me actually I don't treat the live stream as people listening. Huh? It's very rare where I have kanang a live stream where people really sit down and listen. Where it's how Facebook is the audience in Facebook are not there to listen to a podcast, no?
Mhm.
Right? So like sometimes it works like when you have like katong kanang very specific topics that people know what they're gonna get, no? Like I had my friend Gino who had COVID and we just talked about it. That one had a very consistent stream of listeners, right? But for something like this where there's really no promise. In a way, we kind of have to explain what a mastermind is. I don't have high expectations, but once it's posted as a podcast, the listener profile changes by a lot. No,
Mhm.
it's like
I
people.
think
I mean, you
especially if
listen
you
to
put up a
podcasts.
topic goal, and then you have like a profile of people who follow that particular topic. Like I was surprised when people were listening to the electric transport podcast we had, and then
Yeah, that's right. Oh,
yeah, some
yeah,
actually
people
bookmarked
commented
the
and everything.
video.
Yeah, so it really depends, no? For for me, the live stream is more of marketing for the podcast.
Mm.
I mean, we're gonna
No,
do
but
it anyway, so
yes,
Might
might
as
as
exactly.
well.
well make
It's
it
just, it's
Yeah,
just
into a
a
podcast.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yep. So do we
I
go
have
to
very little. Sorry, sorry,
sorry,
Kahlil.
go ahead, Makoy. Go ahead.
No, I have like very little concern about people watching this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it's just like Carlo. I'm hanging out with you guys. Like like I know it's gonna be a good conversation, and then we're helping Carlos out with his selling Bix. So
So for
no,
people watching
I
this,
won't make this like the last one. But I'm helping Carlo. So yeah, and like if other people like watch this and learn something from it, that's cool. But otherwise,
Yeah,
I'm alright.
yeah. Actually, you'd be surprised about how little I care also about people watching. Like it's for me the purpose is Murshad. Like if I don't have a content goal of one podcast a week, then I'm not going to have conversations with you guys as regularly. I'm not gonna go out of my way to talk to people that I'm interested in regularly. Who is that? There's a producer. He produced. I'm blanking. He produced so many things, and apparently he's had one-on-one conversations uh, with professionals, very specific professionals for like years, every week. Like he'll have
Mm.
one with a new, like his assistant does all the booking. I want to talk to this list of people. It's like neuroscientists, doctors, um, you know, and I think he's the producer of like A Beautiful Mind. I don't know, Koy, if you know this. Anyway, Mike
Harvey
Einsinger.
Weinstein.
Anyway, so but yeah, like that guy's been talking to one person a week, like with at a specialized field, learning from these people for years, and he's been able to make all of these kanang movies that have very different topics, and a lot of it is because he's been able to learn from all of these people. I don't want to Google because I'm gonna end up typing, but like
Mm.
yeah, I forgot his name. But the producer of Kind of Beautiful Mind. I'm gonna Google, man.
Assignment, boys and girls. Sorry, Kahlil, you were saying? Yeah, I cut you off there.
No, I totally forgot what I was about to say. But
Sorry, man.
what you call this? There was another thing I wanted to say after this, and I forgot it again.
Brian Grazer, letting it out there. Brian Grazer.
All right.
I don't know, like so I remember you talking about this, Carlo. Like this one is essentially, I mean, a way to meet people, to have that connection, to have those interesting conversations, and it's like setting up a system so that you'll
Yeah.
be forced to do your to help yourself achieve what you want to achieve, which is, I guess, and this is part of it, like to connect with people, have deep, interesting conversations from different perspectives, different areas in of expertise. Yeah. So I guess is it working? By the way, I mean, you've been doing this for what 2-3 years?
Yeah. Working in a sense that I think, I'm sure like it's kind of underlying, it's been helping me somehow. For example, like let's say cycling, for example, like I've learned because of my interest in cycling, I ended up talking to some athletes, some local athletes, and I've learned quite a bit from them. And things like that. Um, I don't know if it's anything tangible. That's the thing. Like I just know I am a smarter, more connected person, uh, and probably happier also because especially now with the lockdowns and everything, it's very easy not to talk to people outside of your household.
Mhm.
Yeah. I've also been reaching out to a lot of people and having like Zoom calls, particularly people in among Rome users. And I think, like, I don't know, I think people are, if people overcome that hesitation of just reaching out and that fear of rejection, you could build so many relationships and open up so many worlds if you just say, hey, I'm interested in your work. Could I have like 1 hour of your time? Could we have a conversation? I could tell you about these things as well. I learned that from sales. I mean, just like removing
Yeah.
this fear of rejection.
Let me tell
Yeah,
you, it's easier to do that if you have a podcast because
definitely. Yeah.
you
You're not
say,
just
"Can I
some
have
creep wanting to
you in
talk
my
to
show?"
someone.
What'd you say, Koi?
You're not just some creep wanting to talk to someone.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Hey,
Kahlil
I
is
have a
not a creep,
podcast.
Koi. Okay, he's
No,
a
no,
very
I'm
nice dude.
I'm joking. But you know what I mean? Like it's like right. So I quit drinking last year, right? Like, and then I realized how ceremonial drinking is, because like
Yes,
so
it
many
is.
people I don't spend time with anymore because the only thing literally we had in common was just drinking. We have nothing else in common. Yeah, if we hang out and they're just like, oh, what do we do? Like, you don't drink? I'm like, I don't know. You want to have dinner or something? It's like, oh, yeah, I don't like that. And it's just like, shit. So a lot of the times that the our encounters with people, ba, is kind of glued into an activity or a a reason why we need to like spend time with them. Like in
Men in
Carlos' case, the
particular.
podcast. Sorry.
Sorry, men in particular are like
Yeah,
that
men in
somehow.
particular, for sure. Yeah, like Carlo, okay, you can just say, "Hey, I have a podcast. Can I talk to you in my podcast?" Like if I just went cold calling someone I wanted to talk to, pretty weird.
Anyway, you can do that.
In
I
my
mean,
case, like I have this audience among Rome users, so
Yeah,
we already have some exchange in Twitter because before I reach out to them, like I see also there like there's also another interesting thing by the way with Twitter. It's like a way to get in contact with people all over the world who have the same interests as you,
yeah,
and then it's slow like that um, relationship so slowly builds as you read each other's work and you like each other's tweets and you respond and you all those things,
yeah,
and then like the conversation, it's as if you already sort of I mean you bypass that initial awkward stage of like introducing yourselves or whatever, like it's an interesting process of getting to know
mhm,
people, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna
If
do more of that.
yeah, if
yeah.
you
No,
do,
that's cool.
honestly,
I wasn't
Khalil,
saying
like,
that about you, by the way. I wasn't saying that that was weird, but like I'm just saying that if you don't have like, I just or so me without a
you
podcast,
can't
without a
take it back,
platform where
Koi.
We have it recorded.
ah, yeah, you got me.
Anyhow,
No,
Shit.
but
you want to go to the cool things?
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
go to cool things.
Yeah, because like my cool thing was sort of related to what McCoy was saying, reading more, and there was another one that is related to. Let me see the notes. Um, I guess it's anyhow. This is something I learned through Twitter as well, through this Rome users community.
Mm,
This is called. It's an interesting. I'm just starting this today because there are all sorts of techniques in this community who are sort of obsessed with like thinking better, productivity, and all those things. So this technique is called the discipline, and interestingly, it's based on a science fiction book by Neil Stephenson called Anathem, wherein they spend like uh, like 100,000 years, 10,000 years on doing deep work. I haven't read the book yet, but it's from that. So, how it's applied is that for your decade, which is 10 days, you have different focus for each day. So the five different focus areas is like connecting. That's the first decade, which is like you connect with the world, meaning you read the news and all that, so that the rest of the 10 days you just do focus work, on a specific thing, which are, for instance, reading, and then studying, like learning a new skill, playing, um, creating, and I think that's it. That's the five. The first one is connecting. So the 10 days, you just do one of those things. So, for instance, the next 10 days, I will do like tomorrow I'll do reading, next day I will do studying, and next day exploring. So it's like this is like you just do this like at least 20 minutes in a day for this particular focus. So it seems interesting because sometimes I tend to get lost in the grind of every day. It's like I have to do list, I have to fulfill this to do list, and you get to forget like the playing, the creating, the reading. So now it's like I have a reading day. I could just maximize my free time to reading whatever. Like I just plan out what I will read today. So it seems an interesting possible solution to what you were saying earlier. I'm gonna try it out. So that's my cool thing. The discipline. That's what's it called.
So is it like to a single topic
No, it's
or
like
any
a single focus. So for instance, in
single?
just 10 days, so you plan it out ahead of time. So my 10 days, like for instance, my 10 days, my next 10 days is like today is connect, tomorrow read, third day study, explore, read, create, plan, study, read. So those are my
Yeah,
my 10 days.
20-minute chunks per day.
Okay. So just
Yes.
anything as long as you do one of those a day.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
anything. Yeah. Up to you. You
Mm.
plan it out, but it's like there's that focus. So because like I find it very hard to study. There's so many
Mm.
exciting other exciting things, but like with this, it's like you have this one focus in a day. So
Mm.
uh, it may work for you guys as well. Anyway, I'll be experimenting with that, and we'll update you how that goes.
Cool.
Other
That's a
cool
good idea.
thing.
So, my turn for cool new thing.
Sure.
Sure. Sorry, because Jonah's message. He's in the construction site. Anyway, my
No.
cool new thing is nothing like a life hack or one of those learnings or what. It's very adult 101. My cool new thing is denatured alcohol.
What is that?
That it's something that works like magic. Um, I recently bought it, and it's not expensive. A whole like I think 5 gallons. No, not 5 gallons. 1 gallon is 200 pesos. It cleans, it burns, it wipes out anything. So if you got like really annoying stains that's stuck on the ceramic or brake pads, actually, it cleans it up really well, and it's cheap. And it's actually also I learned about denatured alcohol because it's used by catering companies. They put it in the cotton and they put it in the burner, so they use that for burning because it burns for a long time. So it's practically just alcohol, and it's a very pure form. No essential oils mix or other pahumot. It's just alcohol, and it cleans up very well. So if you have anything that's stubborn, needs to be cleaned or burned off, denatured alcohol. I love that stuff. Not for drinking.
Where can you buy it?
I thought
Well, I don't know I don't know where in New Zealand. You can ask if they have denatured alcohol. Pero here in Cebu, it's actually produced in Cebu. Treasure Island, the same company that makes the Mayon volcano lacquer thinner, they make the Flying Tiger denatured alcohol.
Okay. Is it
Yeah.
like I mean like supermarkets or like is it like a
Hardware,
wholesale?
any hardware store. Yeah, it's
Is
very
it that you can
popular.
use for- I've heard of it before.
Yeah, super useful for cleaning. Although you better be careful. Like if you're gonna clean something that's sensitive, you need to be careful with using because it's really corrosive. But
Okay.
very effective. It cleans up like very annoying stains. I think in certain clothes as well it does, but I haven't tried it. But I heard it does. But yeah, it's adult 101 for cleaning. And the second cool thing is still a cleaning thing. I have a question for you guys. I feel like a salesman now. Do you guys clean your mattresses?
yes.
You're
Occasionally, we use
What
the
You're embarrassing.
You
I
watch the sheet?
discovered. Sorry,
no the
I watched the
mattress.
sheet. Yeah.
mattress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
We
I mean
use
like
the
What do you do?
Well, my wife either rents or borrows those katong rainbow vacuum cleaner. It's like a
Yeah,
vacuum
so
cleaner that's
it
like a six
washes, no.
digit vacuum cleaner. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
but
she
it
rents
works.
it.
Now,
Ah,
what I do,
sure.
but no, but here's the thing. I
Ah,
recently discovered through Shopee. This is a Shopee find by my dad. My dad apparently shops more than I do. He's like shopping 5 or 6 times more than I do online. So the household stuff that we have at home, he buys online. And one of the things that he bought is for me a magical thing. It's called the foam cleaner,
hmm.
and
What is it?
you just
I
spray
mean,
on it like it looks like mousse, and you spray on it on
okay.
the mattress. You rub it on the mattress, and all the gunk comes out.
From the
And the
Mm.
thing is,
mattress?
yes, just on the mattress. So you don't need to add water or whatever. Just spray it on the mattress, and the gunk comes out, and you scrape off the gunk, and then you dry it up, and it's clean.
But
Did
wait,
you take
if
note of
you buy
that, Khalil? Kinda curious.
Yeah, yeah.
What if
It's
you
now,
what?
it's
What did he say?
But
but wait,
wait,
if you buy now,
You know what I want to know for adulting? What do you guys
what?
do with your kanang food waste
Composting.
in your house?
Mm-hmm. We have a large pile where we just throw everything there.
yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Just compost.
Yeah.
Do you
When we
have it in
have
your
help.
house? No, no, you don't need help. You should just like have a big like in those mga hardware store, the big plastic container, and then you tilt it just a little bit, and you make a buslot on the part where it piles up, so that and then you have to buy worms. You buy the worms because you go up Manggid sa Bukid, you go to like on the way to Ayala Heights on the side, there are people selling night crawlers, African night crawlers. You put it on your
Okay.
compost bin, and then you put the food there, and they'll eat it up. And the wee wee of the African night crawlers is called liquid gold, and you can sell that to plantitos and plantitas.
Um,
Wait. So you tilt it a little bit so that the liquid kanang seeps out,
Yes,
right?
and the buslot that you made.
So in theory, you can just keep it like as is. Like you can just
Mm,
keep the buslot open and let it just
no,
go to the soil.
because the soil, sayang
It
man, sayang, and at the same time, you want the soil moisture to be maintained,
mm,
and you're adding more and more moisture from the food man, because when it's
mm,
broken down,
So you
one of
want
the
to move it
components,
around.
yeah, you
mm,
want to move it around, and the soil becomes so rich, you need to change it again to a different soil, but you can sell the soil as vermicompost.
mm. In hereby, we just
Yeah.
like literally
Mm.
like choose a part of the garden, like soil. Yeah, we like fence it off or whatever. You get like a rubbish bin na ibusot sa ilawom, and you
Uh-huh.
just to isolate that. Yeah, and you just put scraps there,
Yeah,
and then the rest will just dissolve it.
that's the way to do it as well. Yeah,
No, but then
Yeah,
like how big a space do you need? Like how long does it
depends
take
on
to
you.
yeah. It depends on you. Depends on how much you guys consume. Because
Mm.
like most people here, they like grabe man diri ang like mga tao diri isay ikuan jud kanang segregation jud of kanang garbage.
yeah.
So from compost from kanang malata, compostable to like recyclable to soft plastic, and then there are areas here where you can go and like recycle soft plastics as opposed to like cartons and hard plastics and things like that.
Yeah.
But
So
for
wait.
food
Yeah, for the
scraps,
malat
yeah, just put it in the
uh
garden. Yeah,
just dig a hole.
Just dig a
kinda.
hole and put it in.
Just like put something na more like dako na orokan, and then like poke a hole in the bottom.
That's what I'm saying. The plastic bins,
Like
Mm.
yeah,
How big should the
and
hole
event.
be?
Sorry.
How big should the hole be? It's like should it be
Depends
that?
on the person. Good. So, like for example, one of the videos showed that you do a 2 by 2 by 2, 2 feet by 2 feet na deep, na 2 feet like that, and then you just fill it up until it becomes full, and then you make another hole. But it really depends on the person.
No, that's
yeah,
that's like what's the hole in the autocan or in the container.
yeah. Because it will
It's
just
unusual.
it will just be one or biodegrade ba with the soil
So
and everything.
it's like you're just creating a fence around the
Yeah, pretty
compost.
much. Yeah, portability.
Yeah.
The bottom is you have no bottom essentially.
Yeah,
Technically, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Portability. Just make sure nila you know like it's not right next to where you guys hang out. Good.
But the difference is that's just natural composting where you're just throwing it in and you wait for it to decompose. When you add the vermicomposting part, it eats it up faster. So you're not as worried about changing it or it filling up so much. They'll really make it into soil quickly, like in a week or so.
Mm.
What's
Okay,
the
so
rush for?
You can actually use the food scraps or the whatever the biodegradable rubbish as fertilizer if you guys are
Yeah.
like into gardening.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. The reason I'm asking is, since we're doing all the cleaning now here, so it got me thinking as to what to do when we move to our own house in Mandaue. And yeah, the thing is, we have a garden, but it's only a front garden, and I don't know if we have space to dig a hole.
If that's why if you don't have the space for a hole, just buy the bin.
Yeah.
Fill it up
And
with
then
some soil.
nice.
Yeah, but then that's still gonna stink and everything, diba? Like we don't have a
No, no.
space, we don't have an area to put that unless
No,
it's in
the
the
bin
front
has to have a
yard.
cover. The bin has to
Yeah.
have a cover. And
Yeah,
then when
but
you
that gets
throw
gross.
no, that's why it's make it into a soil. So what, for example, you throw the food scrap. After you throw the food
Yeah.
scrap, you put a layer of soil on it
Ah,
to
okay.
cover it, to seal it. Yes, and then the worms do the job.
And then does it eventually reach the top or
Eventually, when
never?
everything turns into soil.
Yeah.
Then
And
you
then
have a
you
whole
just
of like fresh soil.
Yeah.
you just
But
redistribute the soil
take
into your
note, if you're doing bones, so bones have to be separated. Pero everything soft easily gets eaten up, but bones don't get eaten up.
Hmm,
you need to get a dog, Carl.
a dog. Oh, don't get me started. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just thinking out loud.
Mm. So are you, Carl? Cool things.
I watched. That's my cool thing. I watched David Attenborough's A Life on Our Planet.
I love
Pretty
David
good.
Attenborough. I love that guy.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's classic Netflix documentary. You're gonna feel horrible after watching it because our planet is going to hell. But the nice thing with it is he actually gives solutions in the end. No,
Yeah.
of how he has these predictions of our planet, and it's pretty grim.
Bad.
If you have kids, it sounds like they're gonna grow up in a place that is horrible. But the nice thing is he gives pretty
Solutions.
actionable possible solutions to all of the things that he just said. So I thought it was good, and the kids watched it with me.
Yeah. He has a very soothing voice. More sexy Bob Ross. You guys know Bob Ross?
Yeah, the painter.
Yeah. Sometimes
I
I just
like
watch
David.
his videos to like just calm down.
I mean, when
To kind
I
of
first
meditate.
he's the first guy I listened to in terms of nature documentaries when I was still 6 years old. And I was so drawn to his mga videos because it was about birds and animals. And, I could just watch him for several hours. In fact, I hope I don't get jailed for this in the live stream. My mom would record it on VHS so that I could watch it later on. It was that long time ago.
But you should watch the. It's on Netflix. It's really good. It's really good.
My Netflix expired and I haven't renewed in a while. I haven't been watching Netflix lately, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'll try to find a way to watch it.
Legally, Your Honor.
Let's just say I'll find a way to watch it. I'm not.
Never pay for anything you can get for free. Never.
I'm not affirming or denying anything. I invoke my right to self-incrimination.
Just like sex, John. Never pay for anything you can get for free. All right.
Anyway, did we miss anybody's cool thing?
I haven't
This
done like
weekend.
actually, yeah. I told you guys I had like a couple of good points.
Oh, go what?
Yeah. So first off, like,
Yeah.
from our last mastermind, I think you see Kahlil asked me, about the house, why
Mhm.
a house? Why do you want to buy a house? Why not invest in something, you know? The thing is, yeah, I've thought about it like hard, yeah. Why, bitaw? Like, but the thing, it goes back to anti-fragility. Because like no matter what happens, if you have a house, you're not gonna be homeless.
That's true.
Makes sense.
There,
I was
there's a
so
strong truth
ready.
to that.
I was so ready to disagree with you, and then I didn't.
No, but that makes a lot of sense, and it's not like you're planning to really go out anywhere or move out. So
Yeah, no, no, no. Like I'm still. That's just like a staple. That's just like a thing. As long as I'm not homeless, I can pursue a lot of
anything.
things. 'Cause, like, I became homeless recently. I don't know if I told you guys. I was living in a lodge.
That's
Aren't
What's
you
that?
still living
interesting.
in a
The
lodge?
disintegration of my like most recent relationship, and then COVID. I was living in a lodge where divorced dads go and like recovering heroin addicts.
You don't
That's
live
so
there anymore?
interesting.
No, 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 no. I moved into our family house now.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I live with Dim, my cousin.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
That's
and
so interesting.
the other cool thing it's probably not the cool thing. I think this kind of falls between cool and like challenges. So this is gonna be one of those like my type of stories, where it's like it will seem like a tangent, but it will make sense in the end. So
We
Okay.
hope.
there's a comedian named Tom Myers. He's from Maryland, Baltimore. He's very bad. Like he's a horrible comedian. But the thing is, he's so unaware that he's so bad that it's funny, which goes in circle. It's good because he's so
It's so bad that it's good.
good. Yes, Tom
Mhm.
Myers. Like, yeah, anyway, if you have time, check it out. But the whole Tom Myers thing kind of made me really think, because I'm working in the COVID community testing center
Mhm.
sa in a very low socioeconomic area in New Zealand. And I have to tell you guys, like, even if this is a first world country, poor is still poor. Like they have government support, but bro, it's still very bad. It's still poor. And like, like Lain na jud if you have like first-hand experience in like being around people
Mhm.
in that bracket socioeconomically. And
Mhm.
yeah, it really like it really paints a picture ba in your head na shit, like damn, that's the way they live. That sucks. And then but majority, like a lot of my friends here are, they're ve- privileged, to say the least.
Mhm.
And every time I hang out with them, it's always all about social justice, the environment, is this sustainable for the earth? And before I would listen to it and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, maybe, they're right for being concerned about, you know, plastic or like McDonald's, or how many liters of water does a hamburger need, blah blah blah. But then it just dawned to me, like, try saying that to a family of 12, single income household, 12 people in the house, who's like someone's birthday or a celebration to them is going to McDonald's. You know what I mean? Try to
Mhm.
tell them that the shoes that they're buying is made by like little Chinese slaves. To them, that's a luxury. To you, because you're privileged, you're coming from this place, and your concerns are really, you know like bigger, I guess. You're thinking
Mhm.
about the welfare of the planet. You're thinking about your big idea that will change the world, or whatever, do good to humanity. Like, these people are just wanting food on the table. And going back to Tom Myers, like, how do you know? Because we all know a version of Tom Myers, right? We all know a musician that like thinks he or she is the shit and then actually terrible. We all know somebody who's like pseudo intellectual, who tends to like you know think that they're really smart, but they're really stupid. They just they just owned a dictionary at one point in their lives. Like, how do you know you're not Tom Myers? Because that made me think, Jude, like, when I was hanging out with my friends and they're all like, oh, the environment and blah, 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 the world. And I'm like, you guys, you have no idea how some people live. Like, you guys aren't going to those families and giving them some of your food, you assholes.
Interestingly, katong that David Attenborough's documentary about the environment, essentially, no,
Mm,
his first solution actually is to kanang what is this? Increase quality of life of kanang people, meaning, you know, basically kanang get rid of the people, not get rid, but like, make the people you are talking about, koy ba? Kanang make
like the
them have
Germans.
better. Yeah, sure. Um, Kyle. Uh, no, but like to get
And
their standard of living to get their standard of living higher ba. Okay,
yeah.
if you get like the quality of life of people high, a lot of problems solve themselves. A lot of like environmental problems. The
That's
main the
true.
main one that he was pointing at was population increase. No, so it seems like humans are just populating themselves over and over and over. But it turns out, paradoxically, the ones who have a lot of kids tend to be lower income populations or households. No,
Mm,
once you reach a certain level of income or quality of life, for some reason, people have less kids. No,
mm,
so in a way, it will population according to him. Now, I'm not an expert. I only play one in the podcast, but uh, according to him, the population will plateau once you have a lot of these majority of the world populations kanang quality of life or kanang income increase,
mm.
no, which
Actually,
is
it's you just educate women. That's it. Everything will follow.
oh, you think
That's
so?
and that has been shown in the data. You educate women, uh, and urbanization. So and
Just
you
to be
know
clear, you're not saying women are uneducated. You are saying that the vast like there are like populations in the world that
no
are what's the name,
what
diba?
correlates with
Hmm.
lower population without any like enforced sterilization or some sort of brainwashing people or forcing people to do whatever. It's like you educate women. That's it, and that has been shown in data.
Yeah,
And that
because they will have
that's
careers and they won't want to have kids like Japan.
True.
exactly. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
and
So
that's
look how rich
Pero
Japan is
it's
right
so
now.
interesting that you mentioned that I mean, sorry, Carlo, about improving the life of people so that it will help with the environment. Because one of the things that I was reflecting on before on the digital marketing side was I was trying to create a campaign for lesser trash, because people seem to throw their trash everywhere. And if you look at the communication material of environmentalists, it's always, you do this, this will happen, you can prevent this from happening. That's always like that. And then I was thinking about it. Marketing is all about putting value into the message, and I cannot imagine. I mean, here from our perspective, as more privileged people, it's high value to us to have a protected environment because we don't want floods, we don't want all these catastrophes. But you talk to someone who works on an 8 to 5 job, barely has anything to eat, goes home in a very kapoy way of transportation, and you tell them, don't throw your trash on the floor, the small candy wrapper. For them, it's like, I'm too tired to think about these things. And it doesn't, it doesn't affect my life and my survival right now, at least not directly. I don't want to care about it. It doesn't have value to me. You cannot scare me into taking care of the environment. But if you change the people's lives and make them more part of this good lifestyle, they're afraid to lose that good lifestyle. So therefore, they will get more involved with protection environment. And that's why I feel na ineffective ang environmentalists today. They're just not effective in communicating it because you cannot fix the people's mindsets if their lifestyles are all messed up right now. And that's why
what's the
yeah.
chick's name? Greta Thunberg.
Sorry,
How
Greta
dare
Thunberg.
you?
Yeah. Oh my God.
The thing is, like, if you're not coming from a place of kindness and love, it will be very hard to get people into your side, no matter how noble your cause is. If you're doing this to people, like, even if you're asking them to, like, walk an old lady across the street, they will not do it. Yeah, because you're being a dick about it.
But you were asking earlier, how do we know whether or not we're Tom Myers?
Yeah, bro.
I think we all are, man. It's like we are not aware of how stupid we are. It's like there's no way we could know, how inept, and like we couldn't operate if we actually knew.
Yeah.
If we saw ourselves in all our ugliness, we couldn't get up in the morning. Whatever. It's like so we have to have this certain what you call this
Baseline.
it's like a delusion of
Yeah.
who we are. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I was thinking about that too. About, like, in order to do great things, though, you have to have that level of delusion that Tom Myers have, that he's a good comedian, and keep going, because
yeah.
him being so bad that now it's funny, he's actually great.
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
It's so
it's
good.
also like you want to see how people see you. You want to
Yeah.
be aware of that because it seems what the way you say is like it's either he's a genius that is doing this like multiple layers of like I'm this but I'm not this, but
Yeah.
or he's truly not aware of how people
Yeah.
perceive him.
Yeah.
But you wanna know that like how people perceive you. But at the same time, is that who you are? Do they really see you? But perhaps you're just presenting something that is impressive, but it's like ultimately, are we, really?
We're all just Tom Myers.
Yeah, exactly. It's like some of us are just better at projecting something that is impressive to other people.
Mm.
No, but ultimately, like what are we, man?
Yeah, but perception becomes reality at one point, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
you
present
could you could
yourself in-
convince yourself and other people
yeah.
that you're good, but but this is like from the perspective of it's like um relative goodness.
Mm.
Like if you're just competing with other people.
Yeah. I think
Anyhow,
a good way to navigate that is just always use, like, love and kindness as your compass. Sounds like cheesy and stupid, but I don't know any other, like, fancy word for
yeah,
it.
man.
Like, as
This
long
is
as you're coming from that place, you're not trying to, like, be better than other people. You're
yeah,
just
man.
you just want to help other people.
Exactly. I think this is
So
like the ending part of like every drinking conversation. We're always talking about love and meaning and saving the world.
So
And
with
this
that
is
in mind, we have been going for about 2 hours,
2 hours.
and frankly, I'm a little bit hungry. So,
Yeah, and so are my
uh,
birds. It's around feeding time now.
I think that is a good place for us to end. I think, as usual, it was a good conversation. I know that we could go for longer.
sorry, I won't be late next time. Well, I'll try not to be.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It was cool to put you in the spotlight. Ironically, in the dark car. Um, yeah. Okay, guys. I think we're good. Are we good? Is
Yep.
Yeah, thank
everybody
you,
We're good.
everyone.
happy?
Yeah, appreciate your time.
thank you so
Yes.
much,
I
guys.
I like your contribution to my podcast. Um, okay. Okay. Bye. Thanks, Koy. Good one. All right. I will disconnect. Feel free to talk off air